Hello everyone, and welcome to Post-Platinum for a game that I've been playing for a few months now, Paladins. Released back in 2018 on the PS4, Paladins is a game that I would have never heard about if it were not for a friend of mine who convinced me to play one match in the free-to-play game where I earned a single solitary trophy called Untouched, resigning me to a fate of eventually platinuming this game, lest my profile be forever marred by a percentage under 100. If you're unfamiliar with this MOBA, it's been described as a free version of Overwatch. However, having never played Overwatch, that description means nothing to me, so I'll give you my own. Paladins is a strictly online multiplayer shooter where you'll choose a character from a roster of champions and duke it out in a 5v5 trial of combat. You'll be able to play in either Onslaught, a mode where the objective is to control a specific point on the map, Team Deathmatch, your typical team fight where the first to 40 kills wins, Cart Beyond, which I've never played, but I'm imagining has something to do with a cart, and finally Siege, which appears to be the most popular match mode in this game, wherein you'll attempt to capture a point on the map, which will spawn a cart for the team that captures it, and then they'll push that cart to the enemy's base. In addition to that, your champions will have various abilities based around specific classes, those classes numbering 4 and being damage, flank, frontline, and support. Damage being champions that do a bulk of the combat, being able to inflict the most pain to the enemies, flank being another combat class, generally having more quick movements that allow them to attack from stealthy directions, frontline being your tanks with large health pools and shields so that they can take a good deal of damage, and of course support being your healers, generally having abilities focused around aiding their team. These classes are mondo important in terms of how well your team is going to do in a match, but they aren't really tied to the trophies. The bulk of what you're going to need to do for this platinum can be put down to feats accomplished in the game. So, without further ado, I present to you the coveted earning of the Paladins Platinum.
I'm not afraid. Victory!
From whence they came.
Not getting paid enough for this.
So I suppose we should start with the trophy that's going to suck away a bulk of your time, that being Master Collector, which will require you to unlock 60 character talents. A character talent being the thing that you choose every time you begin a match, which allows you to tweak your character slightly to adapt to your playstyle. For example, if you choose
Victor,
you'll be able to give him a talent that switches his gun to a 3-shot burst for more effective range. Or, if you're playing as
Grok,
you'll be able to make his staff shoot a beam that both damages enemies and heals teammates. For some champions, these talents are really important, and for some, they don't really change all that much. However, your time isn't going to go into understanding this game mechanic, but in unlocking the various talents for the various champions. Each champion has 3 talents, one that's given to you right off the bat and doesn't count towards the 60, and 2 which are unlocked at levels 2 and 8. What this means is that you'll have to get either 30 champions to level 8, 60 champions to level 2, or any combination of those amounts. At present, I believe there are a total of 56 champions that you can play in this game, which means you can almost do the 60 characters to level 2 if you wanted. However, a massive roadblock is going to stand in your way if you're in the broke gang like myself. That being that only 19 of those characters are available to you at the start, with 3 of those 19 being on a kind of trial period where they'll cycle in for you to try them out. This is going to leave you with 2 options. Either fork over some of that cash, or play a lot of this game to earn coins which can be used to purchase champions. You may also be able to earn coins by linking your PSN account to a high-res account, but I didn't want to make one, so I chose the path of getting 30 champions to level 8. I would say in terms of what this means for time, you're probably looking at around 10 to 15 matches with each of these characters, depending on how you do in the match. I'd say for a win, you can almost go 1 for 1 in terms of leveling, but you probably won't always win, so I'd guess it averages out to about 12. As you level, you'll earn coins for leveling your actual account, which you can then take those coins and purchase the champions from the Champions tab on the main menu. For some reason, the prices of these champions vary. Some are worth 15,000, some are worth 30,000, and the bulk are worth 60,000. I don't know why it's like this, it's a secret to everybody, but that's the reality we live in. This trophy is going to be a slog, especially when you're playing a character that you don't really enjoy playing. Eventually, with almost every character, you'll reach a point of being decent with them, but this game really isn't about how good you are, it's more about how well your team functions as a whole. When all of your team is actually trying to fill the roles that they've selected, you'll probably win regardless of who you're playing. If all your team is treating Siege like Team Deathmatch though, you're gonna get stomped out hard. Personally, I would suggest you fill the gap that your team leaves for specific roles and let that determine your champion, especially in the beginning. Usually, people are going to gravitate more towards the flank and damage characters, so you'll be playing support and frontline. But occasionally it's the reverse, so you'll get experience with everything. For me, I got stuck in a rut around the 45 to 47 talent mark, where I didn't like the champions that I had left to slog through, and not enough coins to try a different one. So, if you're like me, you may want to play a game here or there with characters that you don't like, so you don't have to grind 12 games in a row with them all at once. Now, most of the other trophies will likely be earned just as you play and get your champions to level 8. However, there are some that may require a little more intention behind them over the course of specific matches. The two biggest ones you should be trying for being hard carry, where you'll need to kill more than 20 enemy champions in a single siege match, as well as bounty hunter, where you'll need to kill an enemy player who is on a 15 or higher kill streak. These are probably the most difficult skill-based trophies in the game, one requiring your skill and the other requiring a lack of team skill. For hard carry, you'll probably get this one as you play through the game and get better, but the real important thing of note is that this trophy is referring to kills, not eliminations. The major distinction being that eliminations are any kill that you've assisted on, and kills are enemies that you've gotten the final blow on. In-game, you're not going to be able to check this. You'll only be able to see your eliminations and your solo kills, which are kills where you had no assistance. Luckily, it's not as difficult as you may think, as long as you play flank or damage characters. You just need a siege game that lasts the full amount of rounds, and you should be able to pick it up along your journey. Bounty Hunter, on the other hand, is an entirely different beast. This trophy is almost unfair in what it's asking of you. Basically, your team has to be so bad as to allow an enemy player to get on a 15 kill streak or higher, again, kills, not eliminations, and then you have to be the one who kills them. For starters, if you're playing a team where a person has a 15 kill streak, then chances are you're getting absolutely throttled. So the likelihood of you being able to mosey on over to the person and just kill them is implausible, to say the least. Luckily, this game does have a sort of equalizer for skill, that being your special move. But only a few of them are really effective, and skilled players will still be able to avoid most of them regardless. It's also difficult to know when a player is actually on a 15 kill streak, because the little thing by their name keeps tabs on eliminations and not kills. Instead, you'll have to listen to the narrator's dialogue for the lines,
"An enemy is annihilating."
or
Annihilation.
This line will be your cue to go out and try to eliminate that player. It'll likely be the one with the highest streak number by their name. Personally, I got really lucky with this one in a game where my team wasn't getting destroyed, and I believe we even ended up winning. The enemy who got the streak just hung back mostly because he was a sniper character. I just so happened to be playing as a character with an excellent special, that being the healer Io, and the stars just kind of aligned for me to send him off the map with my special and net the trophy.
Enemies behind!
You can also boost this one in training if you want. You'll go into training with a few friends and let a bot get a kill streak, which you can then end, because it's a bot. However, I didn't have 5 friends playing this, so that's kind of a useless tip unless you have a gaggle of buddies joining this game at the same time as you. Which leads us into the single most annoying and difficult trophy to attain in this game, Last One Standing. Now, I have to assume there was a game mode intended for this that wasn't Siege, sort of like Search and Destroy in Call of Duty, where players are eliminated and stay that way until the next round. However, as it stands, every player on the field is going to have to die within 12 seconds of each other, with the exception of you, in order for you to pick up this trophy. That includes your team and the opposing team, so we're clear. 9 people within 12 seconds, assuming the point hasn't yet been captured, with you somehow surviving whatever nuclear explosion killed everyone else. Now, like with Bounty Hunter, there is a boosting method where you can have 4 other players play Siege with you in training, and then the instant you kill the enemy team, they all jump off the side of the map, giving you the trophy. Unfortunately, that requires 4 other people and their willingness to die for you. A loyalty that I do not have. What I do have, though, is a loyalty of 1. Without that, I don't think I would have ever gotten this one, because it's almost impossible to do by yourself. Believe me, I've tried. The method of doing it solo would be to finish the first match of Siege and start the second round with your special. Then you'd lead your team to slaughter as you stand back, and hope all of the enemies group up and you're able to quickly take them out with your special. Skye has a good ability for this, which inflicts a lot of damage. However, that's a lot of things to line up perfectly that probably will not. Firstly, you'll need a team that all dies around the same exact time. Then you'll need the enemies to all cluster around the same area, and then you'll have to hope that your special deals the necessary damage to kill them all within 12 seconds. Personally, I couldn't do it. I tried it in training, but training only makes bots of the enemy team, and you'll likely have a few real players on your team, so they'll just decimate the bots never dying. My suggestion would be to go into training with as many friends as you can scrounge together, leave your remaining teammates high and dry, and use specials to quickly dispatch the enemies as you have your friends jump off the map.
Enemy
Brought
double
your
kill.
present. It's not time's ticking.
Triple kill. Double kill. Killing spree. Triple kill. Quadra kill. That's 5 in a row.
If you can get last one standing, then you've essentially platinumed this game, because all that are left are things that just take time. The only trophies I can even imagine you having any difficulties with being Survivor, which is pretty much just escaping to heal when you're almost dead 50 times. Other than that, I think the other trophies will just fall in line as you go for Master Collector. So to kinda wrap this one up, is Paladins the hardest platinum that I've ever gotten? No. It's got some difficulties that can annoy you for sure, but you can do the entire thing in about a month with little issue. For me, this was a game that I kind of dreaded going back to, but now that I've been playing it, I actually enjoyed my time. I also found it really interesting that this game seems to still have a pretty robust community at the point of me writing this. Considering I'd never heard anything about Paladins since playing it back in 2018, I was expecting it to be on the brink of death. Long matchmaking times, and only the hardest of hardcore professionals still playing. However, that didn't turn out to be the case. Sure, there were some monsters. I remember seeing a guy with Dredge at level 999, but I never felt overwhelmed with the skill gap. Be that good or bad, the ceiling didn't seem too high. And if you're wondering, my personal favorite picks for every class would be
Genos.
for support,
Tiberius.
for damage,
Skye.
for flank, and probably for frontline, although I enjoyed
Makoa.
once I learned his playstyle. Anyways, thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one.